Imagine, you are a student sitting in that dreaded 8 a.m. class that begins your pep day. You stayed up a little bit too late last night, trapped scrolling endlessly through Instagram, even though you promised yourself you'd go to bed earlier after falling asleep in class last week. Considering you probably got up about an hour ago and have not moved around a lot, that lack of sleep is finally catching up to you. As you try to focus on the material being presented in class, the words go in one ear and out the other. You struggle to understand the instructions for the in-class group assignment. In stark contrast, your friend sitting next to you who just came from her 5 a.m. morning practice is fully energized, bouncing off the walls, and very much ready to learn, unlike you. You begin to wonder how her brain functions so well this early. And the answer to your question would be that 2-hour practice full of physically and mentally demanding exercises that started her morning. Research on the benefits of exercise goes all the way back to 600 BC, if not further, during the time of the ancient Greeks. They would participate in organized forms of bodily exertion like lifting heavy stones, running long distances, or even wrestling to discover which tasks would lead them to victory in the Olympic Games. Around 200 years later, Plato instituted physical education courses into his academy, believing it would help his students achieve perfection. Although the Greeks were on the right track, they did not have the modern technology to see how exercise had been improving their brains as well as their strength. They understood that exercise helped them advance physically, but little did they know its impact was much greater. It wasn't until around the mid-19th century that doctors and physicians began to connect the dots between improved exercise and learning. It is well known that exercise has numerous positive effects on the human body. Think about the last time you went on a run. Afterwards, you probably felt relieved and ready to face the world, or maybe just that history assignment you've been procrastinating on. This is due to the body's levels of serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. These hormones released in exercise can improve and enhance the functions of the brain. Because of this, schools across America have implemented physical education programs, or PE, where students have selected time to advance physically as well as mentally through exercise. Many children do not have the opportunity to participate in organized athletics. Therefore, government officials, school boards, and parents all believe that PE is essential in keeping the student body active and intelligent. But what period this physical education class takes a part in continues to invite debate. Does the time we exercise really matter? Well, let me spoil it for you. It does. Research proves that exercise enhances the brain, so this program should take place prior to learning. If laid out correctly, the physical education class, as stated in this thesis, becomes the first class, and all the other classes bump down, taking the original PE time slot. So, this physical education includes exercise, which the Oxford English Dictionary defines as any activity requiring physical effort carried out to sustain or improve health and fitness. These energy-expending activities improve and enhance the functions of the brain. They prepare students to receive the information they get from their teachers throughout their classes. So some might ask, why does the time of PE matter? It might seem like as long as students receive physical education at any time during the day, they are checking the box. However, checking the box is not enough. The general level of intelligence decreases more and more every generation due to a lack of expeditious brain function. As more kids look at technology as the answer for boredom instead of physical activities, they are removing a valuable asset to education. We must solve this issue before generations are released into the world unprepared to face it. So how can humanity put an end to these inadequately educated masses? Well, as my thesis will prove, they should seek to have students strive to reach their full potential academically in learning. Although people will attempt to solve the issue of students' ill receptiveness to subject material by changing coursework, the most advantageous strategy is to get the mind ready through learning. If schools create physical mandatory exercise courses before the learning, they will be taking giant leaps in the right direction of creating an innovative generation of prepared graduates. Considering exercise improves the functions of those with ADHD, enhances cognitive function, and allows us to fulfill God's commands, physical education is necessary for our society. In order to achieve maximum learning capabilities, schools across America should implement physical exercise classes that take place prior to regular education. My first point for today is that physical activities improve the brain functions of those with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, permitting them to focus on the material provided in class. Someone who deals with ADHD lacks a long-lasting attention span, but with exercise, their attention can improve. Daniel Pratio, a certified strength and conditioning specialist, explains in his article how exercise offers many benefits for children with ADHD. Specifically, physical exertion greatly improves their brain function. Exercise affects a person with ADHD in a similar manner as stimulants. Pratio states that stimulant medications often used to treat ADHD increase dopamine levels, and another way to increase this hormone is through regular exercise. He calls exercise a promising treatment method for improving cognitive function. Gaining the attention of adolescents and keeping it is a growing problem in our world today. It's like trying to get the attention of her mom while she's on the phone. Near impossible. But if exercise can be a solution for those with ADHD, can it be a solution for everyone? When a group of students participate in physical, organized classes before education, they are more prepared to focus on the material provided in class. If exercise can be a temporary natural solution, then why not include it at the start of the school day? Allowing students, and especially those with this condition, to increase their brain function will permit them to absorb information that they receive from their teachers throughout their classes. The more they can process, the smarter they will become. The second point I would like to impress upon you is that students' education would benefit greatly from physical exertion before learning, since our learning capabilities increase due to physical activity. Chemicals that play a crucial part in the learning center of our brain are increased in greater amounts during exercise. Heidi Godman of Harvard University states, the benefits of exercise come directly from its ability to stimulate the release of growth factors. This inevitably raises the production and survival rates of new brain cells. With an increase in blood flow and the development of new brain cells comes the ability to process and comprehend more knowledge. In a personal interview I conducted with nurse practitioner and Professor Terry Long, she explained how during exercise, oxygen levels and cellular activity improve due to a surge in blood flow. This enhances the concentration and retention in an individual. This increase in oxygen and blood flow creates the perfect environment for the development of new brain cells, which allows students to absorb information that previously could not be stored in their memory. In other words, the more active our brains are, the more information is permanently received in a classroom. Unlike other stimulants, exercise naturally prepares the brain for learning. John Rady, a physician and associate clinical professor of psychiatry at the Harvard Medical School, claims exercise provides a natural stimulus that prepares the brain to intake, process, and learn information. The school system's main responsibility is to provide adolescents with an education to prepare them for the future. And the way to do this is by completing physical education before learning. Wouldn't they want to accomplish this to the best of their ability? By providing these classes, the faculty is preparing the students to receive their education efficiently. Field research has proven the positive effect exercise prior to classes has on the students' learning capabilities. In Illinois, Naperville Central High School conducts zero-hour PE, an educational experiment where students partake in physical exertion before education for their classes. Rady explains how exercise offers many benefits, and after exercise, the students' senses are heightened, their focus and mood are improved, they are less fidgety and tense, and they have increased motivation. These are the benefits of exercise, and improves all aspects of cognitive function that aid in learning. At the end of the semester, those who participated in zero-hour PE showed a 17% improvement in reading and comprehension compared with a 10.7% improvement among those who opted to take standard PE. Not only did those involved in the field experiment have increased learning and attitudes, but they were able to acquire higher test scores. Just like with the students at Naperville Central High School, I too improved in learning after participating in exercise. I played varsity basketball for the Covenant School of Jacksonville, and during the season, we had morning practices every other week. This meant I was waking up at 5 in the morning to go do physically demanding tasks that would prepare me and my team for success. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, when I would come to PEP after physical exercise classes, I could feel the difference. Thinking on the spot and understanding assignments was so much easier on the pep days with morning practice. The enhancements I experienced were due to the exercises completed earlier. They increased my brain function. If schools instituted morning exercise programs, the student body would grow in intelligence and brain function, therefore making a greater generation. In agreement with my first two arguments, God's word stresses the importance of striving to reach our full potential academically through learning. Exercise before learning will help mankind accomplish this feat. Humanity should do everything in its power by the grace of God to increase its ability to learn as if learning for the Lord. Colossians 3:23 states, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as if working for the Lord, not human masters." We are commanded to do everything as if doing it for the Lord, and this includes learning. Students and parents should seek to fulfill this command by any means necessary. By doing everything they can to achieve the highest form of education provided by their school, like partaking in physical exertion before class, students are learning as if they're doing it for the Lord. Christians are called to strive for knowledge, and they can achieve this by enhancing brain function. Solomon writes in Proverbs 24:5, "A wise man is full of strength, and a man of knowledge enhances his might." We are to increase not only our physical strength, but also our mental strength through learning. Strength alone would not build a bed from IKEA. You need the instructions to obtain the knowledge of how to put it together correctly. If we are to grow in might through knowledge as God commands, then it is imperative to prepare our brains to receive knowledge in a classroom. And this can be achieved through physical education courses. Some critics claim that organized exercise amongst peers can cause stress for unathletic students, which negatively affects their learning. In Daphne Brown's graduate thesis, Negative Experiences of Physical Education Class and the Avoidance of Exercise, she explains how the hormone cortisol is released during stressful situations and how it can inhibit proper brain development in adolescence. As a result, when students are tasked with exercises unfamiliar to them in front of their peers, their cortisol levels increase, and this hinders regular brain function. Due to this factor, they argue that prior to learning physical education programs do not increase cognitive function, but actually inhibit it. Due to this factor, they argue that prior to learning physical education courses do not increase cognitive function, but actually inhibit it. Although students may stress about embarrassment when it comes to a group physical fitness task, the physical education course that I'm advocating for would be non-competitive. It would promote a supportive community where students can strive to reach the highest form of education together. There would be no fear of being the last kid picked for dodgeball. If you're still not convinced it would be a stress-free environment, then it might interest you that the actual act of exercising releases stress. Experts at Mayo Clinic state that almost any exercise can provide natural stress relief. As you exercise, endorphins are released into your bloodstream, and endorphins reduce stress naturally. Through exercise, students are eliminating the stress factor. In addition, if peer reactions are the main stress contributor, then the student is falling into the fear of man. In Proverbs 24:29-25, God proclaims, "Fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe." We are not to fear man, instead we are to fear the Lord. Focusing on and stressing about how others will view you when you make a mistake in PE is unnecessary. If you are doing a certain exercise as if doing it for the Lord, then it does not matter what others think of you. In short, the stress attributed to physical education can be minimized through faith and exercise. Therefore, exercise prior to learning is beneficial. Parents and students may also argue that having physical education courses in the morning would aid in depriving tired students of precious sleep. In Best Days of Your Life, Russell Foster, the director of Sleep and Circadian Neuroscience Institute at the University of Oxford, claims that sleep plays a critical role in memory and our ability to generate innovative solutions to complex problems. In other words, sleep is essential for retaining information and problem solving. You need sleep to have proper brain function. For this reason, critics believe that if students have to wake up earlier than they already do for this new PE class, then it would be counterproductive. As John Rady explains, Naperville Central High School handled this issue in its 0-hour PE experiment by removing regular PE from the students' schedules and shifting all their other classes down a period slot to take the original PE time. So if their first class began at 8, it would now begin at 9, and so on. Similar to Naperville's solution, schools across America would adapt their schedules to include this physical fitness program. It would take place in the students' regular first period, and all the other classes would be bumped down, taking the original PE's time slot. Sleep would not be hindered by this exercise course. Students would continue to receive the same amount of sleep they get on a regular daily basis. At the beginning of this thesis, we discovered how exercise offers numerous benefits not only for regular students, but for those with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Due to the increase in dopamine levels, exercise allows those with ADHD to have an easier learning experience. Continuing, we explore the scientific explanation for how exercise improves brain function. The development of new brain cells allows for more information to be stored, which allows students to get higher test scores. We consider this topic under a biblical lens, showing how we are commanded to do everything as if doing it for the Lord, and this includes learning. We learned how we should seek to increase our might through knowledge, not just strength. Finally, we saw how physical education before class is a promising remedy to society's continuing decrease in subject intelligence. Looking back now, you know why your friend was so invigorated in your 8 a.m. class. She had participated in a series of physically demanding practices at practice earlier that morning that prepared her to face the long day of learning ahead. After hearing about the impact exercise prior to learning has on us, we now need to take the effort into taking the next step. As a society, we should seek to help the adolescents in our community achieve the highest form of education, which can be reached through morning physical education courses. Individually, we should strive to participate in programs that push us physically so that we can be prepared mentally to learn. This means signing up for that 0-hour PE experiment. This means being open to a different school schedule. And finally, this means making a small change that can make a big difference. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Nathan. I think it would be super beneficial, but since PEP is very busy and they only start at 8, the question was, do I think that PEP should implement a physical education course at the start of the school day? So like I said, PEP has a very busy schedule. They can only have the classrooms for a certain time period from 8 to around 4. And so in order to fit all the classes, they don't have the room to bump down their schedule. And so I think an alternative would to be if students participate in physical exertion on their own terms before coming to class. Does that answer your question? Perfect. Yes. So the question was, on the PEP days, or on the days I had practice where I didn't have PEP, did I go home and take a nap afterwards, or did I do my schoolwork? So I actually did do my schoolwork most of the days. There were days, of course, where I was really exhausted and I did go to sleep, but most of the time I did complete my assignments because I was more awake and energetic and ready to do the work. Yes? So her question was, I talked about how exercise would work for people with mental disabilities, but how would that work for people with physical disabilities? So I think a way to do this is different schools would handle it differently. It depends on the person and what their disability is, but I think there's alternative exercises that they can complete that would help them achieve this. Does that answer your question? Perfect. Any other questions? Mm-hmm.